Did you notice that when Yoshi enters the museum, it's written on the window next to him, and on the top part of the entrance door, the phrase, "Return to Roots." And in Yoshi's case, this makes perfect sense. After all, he really is a dinosaur, and there he manages to find a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton right off the bat. And the coolest part is that this is actually an attraction that exists in the Museum of Natural History in New York, which is where he is located. And when you watch the movie, did you notice that when Rosalina manages to free herself from her handcuffs for a short time and helps the little Luma escape, upon creating the explosion, we see several Koopas flying through the air. However, if you look at the background of the scene, you'll notice that Comet becomes completely blind without his glasses, fumbling his hands on the ground to pick them up. Which means that the Koopa Wizard is very good when he can see, otherwise he is basically useless. You can tell that all the hidden things in the Super Mario Galaxy movie are going to be revealed in this video. Get ready, because we are going to blow your mind. When Mario and Luigi arrive at Tostarena, the locals indicate that the problem that needs to be solved is inside the pyramid. At that moment, we see that the two brothers are wearing a poncho, which is a typical outfit of cowboys involved in Wild West shootouts. In fact, this is the same outfit that Sheriff Woody appears wearing in the Toy Story 5 trailer. But what you don't know is that there is a reason for this that few people are aware of. Originally, Mario was created to use a pistol. However, the creator of the game, Shigeru Miyamoto, was prohibited by Nintendo, and he ended up replacing the pistol with the fire flowers, which are exactly what Mario and Luigi pull out when they enter the pyramid, adding even more of a Wild West vibe to the scene. In other words, you didn't even know it, but everything was connected. Another thing that only the older and more experienced viewers might have wondered about when seeing Yoshi's introduction scene is the origin of the Tostarena pyramids. This is because if we look closely at the inhabitants of the region, the Tostarenos, we see that they are inspired by Mexican culture, but the pyramids look a lot like the ones that exist in Egypt, even though they are upside down. And that's where the curious fact comes in. The truth is that the ancestors of the Tostarenos we know today were responsible for building the pyramid. And more than that, it was built upside down on purpose to house the binding band, a legendary artifact that serves as a giant wedding ring. The inverted structure is a great local symbol to represent that those who are united by this ring will never be separated, even if the world turns upside down. So, did you know about that? It even makes you want to see Mario and Peach getting married, and him giving her the binding band. Speaking of Mario and Peach, you might not have noticed, but there are several moments in the movie that show they are closer than ever. And more than that, they like each other. They just haven't said it openly between them. An example of this is the moment at the beginning of the movie where Mario finds Peach alone on the palace terrace admiring the fireworks display. After giving her the gift, the umbrella, it seems like he is going to summon the courage to ask her out. But just as he is about to do it, the little fugitive Luma tears through the skies of the Mushroom Kingdom, and Peach was anxious for the invitation. It seems she likes short guys with mustaches after all. Another scene that proves they really have a very strong connection happens in the scene where the two reunite, and Peach opens her arms to hug Mario, but he gets embarrassed and only extends his hand to her. What a disappointment, Mario. But he had his chance for redemption, and he didn't waste it. When the two are going through the trials that Bowser Jr. created to prevent the duo from reaching his castle, notice that at a certain point, to avoid being hit by the lava saws, they stay very close together and even look at each other, as if they were feeling awkward since they are very, very close. But the key moment for our dear Mario is in the scene where he locks the castle gate and stays behind to fight Bowser and Bowser Jr. all by himself. At this moment, we can see that he finally takes courage and firmly holds Peach's hand, telling the princess to go save Rosalina while he holds off the villains. Seriously, I loved this scene. It warmed my heart, and Peach's too. For sure, since we are talking about Rosalina both at the very beginning of the movie and when Peach and the rest of Team Mario are rescued and she finds the Comet Observatory library, we can notice that Rosalina always tells stories of our heroes to the Lumas. And these stories involve not only Peach, but also the Toads, Mario, Luigi, and even Donkey Kong. But upon seeing this, a doubt arises in the head of any adult who watched the movie. After all, how does Rosalina know all these stories about our heroes? Is there some hidden Luma spying and watching over Peach and our heroes to know if she is okay? And if this is true, did Rosalina know that Bowser was about to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom? More than that, did she also know that her beloved younger sister Peach was going to be forced to marry the King of the Koopas, and even so, she did nothing? This really left me very curious. How about you? Still talking about the place where Rosalina and her loved ones live, known as the Comet Observatory? If you look closely, you'll notice that it has appropriate decoration, with several shooting stars, normal stars, and even moons distributed in various places in the observatory, such as on the lampposts, on top of the fireplace, on the pillows, and even on the cover of the books she reads to them at bedtime. If you're enjoying the video, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any new videos. If you were paying attention to the details, just like we were, you might have noticed that apparently Mario and Luigi's life as plumbers continues in full swing. The proof of this is shown in the brothers' mushroom house, where we see there is a hydraulic map on the Mario Brothers table full of drawings of pipes and measurements. The question that remains is, was that project the hydraulic piping for Peach's castle that ended up in space? Because if it was, they needed to make a new project for the second castle that was finished at the end of the movie. Another very cool thing we managed to notice in the movie also happens at the brothers' house. When they open the wardrobe, if you pause the scene at the right moment, you will see that among the various blue overalls, white gloves, and green and red clothes, there is a yellow cape. The interesting thing is that this is the very same cape that Mario is wearing in the final scene of the movie when he gets the feather and transforms into Cape Mario, which indicates that this is not the first time he has transformed into this version. And last time he kept the cape as a souvenir, probably, when the Mario Brothers and Yoshi prepare for Peach's birthday party, we notice something that, let's just say, is interesting to say the least. If you look closely at the clock, you'll notice that it marks 7 hours and 16 minutes. But, as we see at the beginning of the scene and then during the party, it also becomes clear it is already nighttime. In other words, in reality, the time on the clock, which is digital, should be 19 hours and 16 minutes. After all, afternoon, the hours are counted from 12, then 13, 14, and so on. So, had you noticed that too? Moving now to Peach's birthday party, a very interesting detail that all the children missed happens in the scene where Luigi grabs a cupcake. If you observe closely, you'll notice that Yoshi thinks Mario's brother is going to give him the cupcake to eat. But that doesn't end up happening, and we can see he even gets sad. But of course, that sadness is short-lived, since later he simply swallows Bowser's pinata. Not to mention that he also eats Toad's candy apple. Right after, still at Peach's birthday festival, we see the penguins from the neighboring kingdom doing a choreographed dance. And what practically no one noticed is that in the background, while the birds from the South Pole were performing, if you look closely, you'll notice that one toad simply steals food from the other toad, who only notices after the first one has already swallowed the treat. And if there is one thing we can't complain about in Illumination movies, it's the amount of hidden details. For example, when Mario spots Peach on the palace balcony, at the same time some fireworks are being exploded in the air. And what you might not have realized is that one of them becomes exactly the shape of a toad's head. Returning to the final scene of the movie, as soon as Peach gives Mario his first kiss in movie history, if you look at the toads who are behind the couple, you'll notice that they make a face of surprise and nudge each other, indicating that even they didn't expect that action from Peach. And right after literally flying to the top of the highest tower of the new castle, if you blinked, you missed it when Yoshi appears sitting on the edge of the castle and looks at Mario when he passes by holding the new flag that was placed there at the top. Now, let's talk about the scene in which Mario and Luigi arrive at Tostarena to answer the call for help from the local inhabitants. In this scene, we see that the two use their powerful motorcycles to cross the desert and reach their final destination. The coolest thing of all is that all those maneuvers we see the two doing are actually real maneuvers. For example, that braking move Mario does upon arriving at the Tostarenos' village, lifting the back of the motorcycle, is called a stoppie by sports enthusiasts. Another detail that few noticed is that the galaxy shown right at the beginning of the movie is in the shape of a star, living up to the name of the movie, Super Mario Galaxy, and the dear and cute Lumas. who are basically stars with a life of their own. Another very cool thing that some didn't even notice is that inside the galaxy, there is an orange nebula in the shape of a question mark, which is exactly the most common symbol we find on the blocks scattered throughout all Mario games. And to close with a flourish, at the end of the movie, already in the closing scenes, we see that Bowser, even in his skeleton form, still hasn't lost his passion for painting. Only this time, instead of just putting Peach as the person who adores him, we also have Rosalina hugging one of his legs and Luigi hugging the other. Not to mention that he is stepping on top of Kamek, showing that he really doesn't look upon the Koopa Wizard with any affection. At the same time, he delivers a big punch to Mario's face.